Fist of fun. Fist. Fun. Fist of fun. Fist of fun.
It's Fist of Fun, and please welcome your host,
Stuart Lee. Oh, no, it's the gimp from Pulp Fiction. That's the gimp. He shouldn't be there. Get him. Hurt him. Don't hurt him. That's what he wants. Rich should be in there, not him. That's Quentin Tarantino's gimp. He'll be going spare. That's it. Where's Rich? Second week running, it's been a mistake. I'm Stuart Lee. And my name is Richard Herring. You never guessed where I just was, Stu.
No,
Oh, dear.
Anyway, welcome to Fist of Fun.
Oh, dear.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's the lifestyle show that aims to find at least one thing for everyone in the world to do, irrespective of their age, race, creed, colour or pain threshold.
That's right. But remember, it does all come from the perspective of two emotionally stunted men in their mid-20s who've never done a decent day's work in their lives and who rarely venture out of their houses for fear of missing an unscheduled episode of Going for Gold.
Fist of fun.
You got into a bit of trouble after last week's show, didn't you, Stu?
Yeah. In response to the Easter parable, we were deluged with nearly 2 letters of complaint. This one is from Mrs J. Wentall. She wrote to me to say, the show displays a woeful ignorance of true Christian belief. I wonder if you dare to broadcast something in the same vein, but targeting a travesty of the Islamic faith. And I wrote back to Mrs Wentall and I said, well, no, I wouldn't. You know, might be an atheist, but I'm not stupid.
Like going out in the old fresh air, don't you, Stu?
Yeah, and having hands as well, like them.
On the end of your arms. Yeah, that's very useful. No, actually, what I was referring to was the 50 letters of complaint we received about your continuing anti-Somerset prejudice, Stu. Look, there's just some of them, look.
Yeah, it's really amazing, that, actually, getting 50 letters of complaint from Somerset.
It's impressive.
Because, of course, they've only got the one quill pen between them down there. And that's chiefly used for tickling the devils out of the mad folk, isn't it?
Stu, as you well know, in Somerset today, the mentally ill are treated with modern electric shock therapy. And where electricity isn't available, say in Shipham, they're, you know, smothered humanely. All right.
But good news, Rich. Good news for you and your socially dysfunctional county folk. Because one of the things we're going to be looking at in this week's show is how to make friends.
Fist.
Hello, you must be Ian and Jenny. Doris lent me. Hello, welcome, come on in.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Come on through, make yourselves at home. Right, that's my husband, Ken. This is Sarah and Jeremy. And that's Roger. He lives at the wood end of the road.
I am enchanted to meet you.
We always have a bit of a do when you folks move in.
Just so everyone can get to know you, see who you are, find out a little bit about you, so you feel like one of the family. So, Ian, you work in the personnel department at Lucas Alternators, don't you?
Yes, that's right, yes. I've been there for about
4 years. Oh, yes, Ian, we've done our research.
Jenny, I gather that you hail from Lincoln and that when you were 14 you won a bronze Duke of Edinburgh award.
Yeah. How do you know that?
It's in the newsletter.
When new people move into the road, Doris and I do like to put together a little newsletter about them. Just things anyone can find out from records at the local library and a few phone calls posing as a government official. I hope you don't mind, just being neighbourly.
Here's your soup, Ian.
Sorry?
Come on, Ian, you love soup, don't you? You have 2 or 3 cans a week. You're soup crazy.
We've taken the liberty of going through the bins in your old house from the past.
What?
Just to get some idea of your interests.
So, come on then, Mr. Soup. Eat up.
So, Jenny, I understand when you were younger you had an operation to remove a bottle which had become trapped in your anal passage.
Roger here works as an orderly at the local hospital. Yes. So, as you can imagine, it's very easy for him to slip into the records room under the cloak of night and find all sorts of hoopla-hallay.
It's best to get these things out in the open now, Jenny. It stops gossip and rumour-mongering.
Oh, time for my film.
Oh, there you are, Jenny. Buying Ian some more soup, I shouldn't wonder.
Is that another bottle?
Oh, that's you again, Jenny. And although this is only a shadow, I think it gives us all a fair impression of what you might look like bare.
There's her bra.
You were on that toilet for 25 minutes, Ian. I thought I was going to get cramped up in that ventilation duct. I don't know what was going on here, Jenny. I don't think that's Ian, is it?
No,
Still, we mustn't pry into what doesn't concern us. And that's the end of my welcome Ian and Jenny to Ringfield Road film.
Oh dear, hope it wasn't anything we said.
I think we're quick. We should be able to catch the rest of it on the closed circuit.
What do you mean it's none of mine?
Just for fun.
In there, it's horrible.
This is a photo of me, age 7, at Widney Junior School with all my tiny friends at the time. That's me there. That kid was Scott Harris. He was rich, everyone liked him. Andrew something there. He actually changed my name from Stuart Lee to Pooh Art Wee, which was very funny at the time, as you can imagine. That kid there, can't actually remember him. No, can't remember him, it's gone.
When I was at school, Stu, you know, Steve Cheek, my friend, we used to go up the gorge together, drink woodpecker cider and shout at girls. It was great. He said to me, these were perfect days and we would be friends forever. But, you know, now whenever I ring him up and ask him if he wants to go up the gorge and mess around like we used to, he says, Rich, I am the Professor of English Literature at Bristol University. I have children of my own now. Leave me alone. Stop ringing me. You're strange. It's really sad. You'll come up the gorge with me after the show, won't you? Drink cider after the show,
I will. Yeah, definitely.
Yay! Drink
One of the problems that you have with making friends, as we've seen, is that ultimately, of course, you will outgrow them and become embarrassed by them.
I am a cider drinker.
We've been in a situation where we're at an important showbiz party and you're talking perhaps to, say, Mark Lamar and getting on very well with him on a one-to-one basis, you know. And then your embarrassing friend comes along and he goes, oh, you're that Mark Lamar off the telly, I've seen you. I've touched your hair with one of my hands.
You talking about me, Stu?
No, I'm not, no.
Because, you know, if you are, I won't come to the showbiz parties with you anymore if that's the way you feel. You know, actually, I don't want to come. I just thought I don't want to come anymore. I didn't like them.
You know,
I don't want to go.
You don't mean that. You know,
I do.
You know what you're like?
What?
You are like the Edwardian explorer, Captain Oates, you are.
What do you mean?
Ah.
No, you can't just go on. What do you mean? Ah. Don't just go. What does he mean?
Fist.
I'm just stepping outside. I may be sometime. Did you hear what I said? I said I'm just stepping outside.
That's very brave of you, Captain Oates. Thank you.
That's all right, Captain Scott. Bye then.
Bye.
You realise it's really cold out here. If I stay out just a couple of minutes, I'll probably die and everything.
If that's what you want, it's fine by us.
So you're not going to try and stop me then?
No, not if that's what you want.
Bye then. I left my glove.
What do you want, Captain Oates? Do you want us to say you're the best at going to the South Pole? Is that it?
No, it's all right. It's not that anyway. I'm just going, all right?
Yes. Twat.
I'm back. It didn't take as long as I anticipated. The thing I had to do.
Oh, Captain Oates.
actually, I've had a really bad week this week because my flat has become infested with mice. I am a vegetarian, like Morrissey and Hitler, and so I can't condone the murder of small animals, you know.
Surely there's more important things to worry about, Rich, than whether you should kill some small rodents. I mean, you know, what about the homeless, for example?
Oh, no, Stu, I don't think we should kill them. They're not doing any real harm. Although, admittedly, if a homeless person was scurrying around my kitchen, stealing my cheese and going to the toilet all over my work surfaces, I might consider putting down some kind of humane trap. But until that day, be fair, Stu, live and let live. You're like Pol Pot or someone.
No,
you are.
You've missed the point. That's not what I meant at all.
Well, it is, actually. But, you know, the thing is, it would all be OK if the mice were dead, but I didn't have their blood on my conscience. So you can imagine my delight when last Friday it seemed all my prayers had been answered. It happened just a little bit like this.
Ah! Damn you, mice! Stop eating my food! You know you're only taking advantage of my misguided middle-class liberalism. If only you were dead and some kind of metaphysical conceit could take from me the responsibility for your death. Oh, I wonder who that could be. Blimey! It's the Pied Piper of Hamelin.
That's right, Rich. You may know me by my gaily coloured cloak. I'll get rid of your mice, no problem, with my magic pipe.
You better come in. But won't I still be to blame for their fate?
No, Rich, no. Legally and morally, the minute I begin to play this pipe, the mice are my responsibility. Let's say they should be horribly killed. It would be my fault, not yours, then you would be blameless.
Well, you wouldn't, would you?
Shut up, Stu. You weren't even there. Get out.
But I must be well rewarded for this sacrifice. I require a bag of gold.
Will you take a cheque?
Yeah, right. P-I-E-D. Smash it. Let the mouse holocaust commence.
The mice are dead and I'm not to blame. Hooray! I mean, how sad.
So, Rich, what you're saying is the Pied Piper of Hamelin, right, he came from 13th century German fiction right through to 20th century Clapham reality, right, just to rid you of those mice. Yeah. That's lucky, wasn't it? It was nice of him.
Well, not entirely, Stu, because on the very next day...
Oh, hello again, Pied Piper. What's up?
That bloody cheque you gave me asked him bounced, didn't it?
That's not my fault. You didn't ask to see my cheque card, did you? And anyway, a bag of gold isn't legal tender in 20th century Britain. Don't you even know that yet?
Damn your eyes! This sort of thing's always happening to me.
Check on, Pied Piper. You am a twat.
Oh, that's what you think. Ah, well, I can do more things with this pipe than enchant a mouse.
Go on, then. Steal away all the children in King's Avenue. I don't care. Oh, and this time, make sure you wait for any lame children. This isn't the 13th century anymore, and there must be proper wheelchair access to whatever mystical land you lead them away to.
Rich, my revenge is sweeter.
What do you mean, no? What are you doing?
It was awful, Stu. Now, every time I make a smell, the pipe plays and enchanted mice try to get into my trousers.
I think Neil Tennant from the Pet Shop Boys is interested in buying that pipe off you. Because he collects unusual musical instruments.
Fun!
Hello. If you have seen me before, then I will need no introduction, as you will recognise my face. If, however, this is the first time you have seen me, then I must tell you now that I am called Simon Quinlank, and the thing I shall be telling you about is a hobby you might like to try. What you will need for this week's hobby: lots of thin white paper, some charcoal or crayons, a guide to country churches, a flask of weak lemon drink, and at least one hand. If you like going to country churches and rubbing things, then this is the hobby for you. This week's hobby is called arse rubbing. Here's how you do this week's hobby. First, find a church, and then go to the vicarage. You can drink your weak lemon drink now, or you can save it until later. When the vicar answers the door, talk to him for a while about God and architecture. Hello, Vicar. I like God and architecture. Do you? Then say this sentence with your mouth. That's very interesting, Reverend. Would you be interested in letting me take a charcoal or crayon rubbing of your arse? Answer me! Delighted. Remove the vicar's trousers and underpants, if he has them. Place the paper over his arse and then rub the edge of the charcoal or crayon against the vicar's arse. And then, hey presto, a perfect charcoal or crayon representation of the arse of the vicar in charcoal or crayon has appeared on the sheet in charcoal or crayon. I don't use charcoal, but crayon is much better because it is in colour. After the rubbing, I label the rubbing with the date, church, name and cleanliness of the vicar. If you are a Muslim or a Hindu or a Jew, why not make an arse rubbing of whatever the blokes who run your religion are called? And remember, grabbing and stripping a vicar and making an impression of his arse against his will is against the law and is punishable by a £10 fine. Be careful. Although vicars may appear to be friendly with strong moral and religious convictions, almost half of them are evil and perverted. So, if they ask you to rub of anything other than their arse, politely decline and then call the police. That's my hobby. I like it a lot. And I think it's better than brass rubbing because brass rubbing is the same every time you rub them. Whilst, over a period of years, a vicar's arse will change in subtle ways that are almost imperceptible to the human eye, but which will become apparent when you look at the rubbing or rubbings. Plus, if you are gay or a woman, it's a good way to get a look at loads of blokes' arses really easy. Touch them. I am not gay, though. Or a woman. Bye.
Fun. Yeah, that's Kenneth Smith. He got me in trouble, actually. He made me do a dare where I had to pull down my pants, and he didn't do it, and I did, and, you know, and, that kid, I still can't remember. I think I knew him because we used to hang around together because we both got picked on. I got picked on for looking a bit Chinese, and, he used to get picked on for something about his face. I can't remember what it was.
Dance, dance, wherever you may be.
Well, now it's time to meet our regular lifestyle contributor. He was born in Wales, but in 1979 he packed his plastic Asda shopping bag and came to see what he could make of himself in the big city of Balham. And all he could make of himself was this. Please welcome Peter. Come on, Peter, get up. You're wasting time, get in there.
Sorry. Hello. They were talking about friendship, weren't they? It's a funny thing, friendship. Like, sometimes, one minute you feel you haven't got a friend in the world, the next, you're wandering around the street on your own, staring into space and sort of banging into things. And you still haven't got any friends. Anyway, I'm back with lots more exciting lifestyle recipes and ideas that I thought up with my brother Charlie to liven up those horrible, dull bits of the day when you're awake. For example, why not try this fun holiday recipe? Go and get the cutlery drawer from the kitchen. Fill all the compartments with curry. Then pretend you're on a plane. By sitting with the drawer on your lap by the window. Sort of looking out and imagining that all the white-haired old men going past outside are clouds. My main bit this week is called Fun with Drugs. Unfortunately, real drugs are expensive and some of them make you die or feel hot. So I've worked out some ways you can simulate their effects, but at a fraction of the cost. Number one, give yourself the massive confidence that some drugs give you by going and looking at something that you know you're better than. I usually use this piece of dirt here. Or a spider. You have to be careful with the spider, though, in case he starts doing something that he's better at than you, like making webs or crawling up the side of a bath or having 8 legs. You could always retaliate by going... which spiders can't do. Number 2, get the effect of cannabis by sitting in a hot bath, smoking a cigarette, then standing up really suddenly in the bath. Finally, go into the Bedford pub on Bedford Hill in Balham, walk up to the huge frightening man who lives in the bed sit next to mine and who once came in my room at 3 o'clock in the morning and tried to put a pair of handcuffs on me and touch my face. And do a spit in his beer. This should create the common drug effect of having to be rushed suddenly to hospital very close to the point of death. Right, I'll finish with another nice recipe. For this, you need a pint of milk, which you put in a natural, electricity-free fridge like mine. Twiddles in pants there. Put some milk in there for about 3 months. I think that's ready. Then get a biscuit. And what you do is smear some jam on the biscuit. I'm using my hand for this. Finally, pour the 3-month-old milk onto the biscuit. 3 months cheesecake.
Very good, isn't it, Pete? He's always goes down very well. It's very popular. He's proving it. I could have done lifestyle things like that. You know, it would have been easy.
If you want to do that, you can do it another time.
No, I don't want to do it now. I could have. No, I could have done it, but I don't really want to. Anyway, you know, let him do it.
Captain Oates, you are.
I'm not like Captain Oates. I'm not.
You are.
No, I'm well.
Would you like the last roast potato, Mrs. Neal?
Oh, thank you, Captain Oates. Lovely.
I mean, I know you've already had 4 roast potatoes, and I've only had none, but don't let that worry you.
Fine.
I mean, I'm not really hungry anyway.
If you want the potato, just say now before I eat it, Captain Oates.
No, no. You have it.
If you really want another potato, Captain Oates, you can have one of mine. I have 2.
Well, I don't want it off your plate with your spit all over it, do I? Anyway, I don't want one. No potatoes was enough for me.
If you really wanted another potato, you should have said, instead of offering it to Mrs. Neal and expecting her to realise that when you did so, you did not really want her to have it to Captain Oates.
I didn't want it, Captain Scott, all right.
If you want it, just say.
No, you stuff it in your greedy face. You'll eat the food that I paid for.
Fine. If that's what you want, I'll eat it. All right?
Oh, all right, I will have it if you insist. Can you pass the gravy, please?
Oh, Captain Oates.
I like Fist of Fun.
Will you hurry up, please?
These are banana bubbles, too. Delicious. They're the cereal that think they're a milkshake. For me, the fact they're able to think is the advertising selling.
Actually, talking of that, Rich, the ability to think, if you haven't got much money or resources, one way of filling up your time is by using your imagination, right? For example, in the early hours of the morning, I like to lie awake imagining that my ex-girlfriend is stealing all my friends off me and turning them against me.
John Lennon was another person with a powerful imagination, Stu. He could imagine many things. He could imagine there was no heaven. It was easy if he tried. He could just do it and just make it up. He could imagine all the people sharing all the world.
No.
Poof, just in there. Poof, yeah, like that. Get this. He could imagine looking-glass people, right?
No.
That's not it.
What?
Eating marshmallow pies.
Good God.
Imagine being able to imagine that. It's an incredible thing.
Yeah.
And he could even imagine, Stu, that Yoko Ono was in some way attractive or talented. Phenomenal. All in here.
Look.
Get him, get the gimp. He could hurt someone. Did you see what he did to Bruce Willis in that thing? He was trying to catch him.
Because they lay eggs.
Yeah.
They lay their eggs.
It's a bit like that thing on Vision On, isn't it? It went, whoa, whoa, like that. Could be worked in.
Perhaps one way of getting round the no friends dilemma is to live in a false world of your own imagination. So is there anyone in the audience tonight who's got an imaginary friend? What about you? Have you got an imaginary friend?
No, I'm afraid.
No? What about you? Have you got an imaginary friend?
Yeah, my imaginary friend is 19th century scientist Michael Faraday, who invented electricity. But in my imagination, he's a bit like a giant lamb with a lion's face. Yeah, he's not the same as he is really in the history books. He doesn't really like electricity, and of course, he's been transformed into a lamb lion.
Right.
but it really is him.
It is him. Good. Oh, you've got one. What about you? You've got an imaginary friend, yeah?
Yes. My imaginary friend is called Jeremy Charlson, and he works as a civil servant in Whitehall. It's not very good, really, because I rarely see him because he's out at work all day, and when he gets home, he's very tired. Also, being a civil servant, he's very sensible and he never wants to come out and play. If something happens at home, like a plate gets broken or shampoo gets put in the sugar bowl, I can't blame Jeremy Charlson because everyone knows he'd never do anything silly like that. No.
Civil servant.
No.
What about you? Have you got an imaginary friend? Hang on! No, I know you from somewhere. Or have you just got one of those kind of faces that... No, it's you, isn't it? From school, Harvey the rabbit boy. Harvey Inkbarrow, yeah.
Who are you talking to, Stu? Have you got an imaginary friend, Pete?
Well, I find it really hard to imagine anything.
Right.
So if I tried to start imagining an imaginary friend, I start with, like, an arm. But then when I get to the face, I've forgotten the arm. And then the face gets connected to, like, a kettle or something like that, which isn't much use. No.
Of course, you've got an imaginary friend, haven't you, Rich?
No.
Yeah, you have. It's me. Because you imagine I'm your friend, but I'm not.
Well, at least I'm not seeing imaginary giant rodents in our audience tonight, am I, Stu? Is this some mice I see before me? Or art thou but mice of the minder? Huh?
Rich, you know, earlier on, those mice you were talking about, right? Is it really true the Pied Piper came and got them?
Yes.
It's just that your flatmate said, right, that you trapped them under a spice rack with a piece of board, threw some cumin in their eyes, right, waited until they'd nearly starved to death, and then got him to smash them over the head with a rock.
No! No, it was the Pied Piper. He did it, the Pied Piper.
Peter was quite unprepared for the friendly welcome he got from the club secretary.
Does everybody who came without a friend now got one?
Yeah! Excuse me, I haven't.
Right, will anyone be this bloke's friend here?
I will.
Oh, no, mate, it's all right. I've just remembered I've got to go and do a thing.
Well, never mind, because perhaps having friends isn't all that it's cracked up to be anyway. I remember talking to my granddad, and he said one of the things that he hated about getting old was slowly watching all of the friends that he'd grown up with dying off one by one. And I said to him, well, Grandad, you fed them those berries.
Stu, I'm going to have to stop you there. We can't cut into the time for the World Championship snooker. We're going to have to get back into our crates now.
Okay, right.
Unless this is the repeat, in which case, well, I don't know what it would be.
We've no way of knowing.
I'm not Nostradamus, am I?
It could be in the future. This programme could look as ridiculous in 10 years' time as the Glam Metal Detectives does now. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? So,
there we go.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Oh, no poo, I've made us smell in the